My name is Eureka. I've been a dancer since I was about 6 years old, doing mostly ballet, tap, and jazz. In April 2009, I began dancing contemporary dance at Dance Factory Art Academy and have been involved in several performances ever since. Together with my partner Shu Hui, we set out to investigate the origins and aspects of contemporary dance in Penang and the traditional cultural elements involved in their performances.
Contemporary dance broke away from classical ballet in the early 20th century. People in that period began to think differently about what was considered art and expression. Ballet was seen in a negative light. For example, Isadora Duncan, one of the pioneers of contemporary dance, thought that it was nothing more than meaningless gymnastics. Another pioneer of contemporary dance was Martha Graham. Graham was an American contemporary dancer and choreographer whose influence on dance had been compared with Picasso's influence on the visual arts. She thought that ballet was European and imperialistic, having nothing to do with modern American people. One thing remarkable about contemporary dance is that it ensures that dancing is not conformed to a certain way. It transcends classifying dance according to culture, country, and techniques. Also, contemporary dance brings dancing to a new level that is understood by target audiences, especially common people like local Penangites. Some dances, including traditional dance, can be too complex or repetitive, and therefore not appreciated by a lot of people. Contemporary dance allows flexibility but also the freedom to incorporate other elements like traditional moves. However, with each school or master in the field, contemporary dance can branch from one form to another. This makes it difficult to define it exactly, because each school is unique. Also, moves and steps are unique with every dance, and so dancers cannot practice by referring to video clips of past performances.
Eastern Dancers is a dance troupe formed over 16 years ago. It was passed down over a few generations. Some of the senior dancers in our studio were early additions to the group. I could tell by the amount of trophies in their cabinet that the Eastern Dancers won many cultural dance competitions. Dance Factory, the studio, was only founded in 2008. Located above McDonald's Sungai Dua, my dance instructor, Mr. Tan Teng, opened the studio as a means to make contemporary dance more appreciated. After performing a lot for charity, he felt that people started to underappreciate the dance. Hence, Dance Factory was born to pass down their contemporary syllabus to new talent.
Mr. Tan was trained briefly in China. He has a background in Chinese cultural dance. He later moved on to ballet and finally contemporary dance. He mentioned that he has a Beijing cultural dance certificate, but cultural dance itself was not taught to any of his students.
My teacher really encourages us to perform to our best ability. When he sees that we are unable to perform certain moves, he scrutinizes our posture and position, pushing us to practice more. If we really have a hard time with a particular section, he tries to amend the choreography on the spot. Oh, and did I mention he keeps and breeds a lot of animals? The studio would be nothing without its dancers. Although none of us solely do this for a living, dancing does become a lifestyle. By day, we are teachers, special education instructors, magazine writers, IT assistants, artists, primary and secondary school students, and college students. But by night, we become dancers, friends, and family. Sure, we goof off sometimes and have a lot of falls and accidents, but at the end of the day, we support and help each other succeed in whatever we're trying to do. Contemporary dance, like ballet, has its own syllabus that goes by grade. Classes are held weekly, and the grades range from 0 to 13. The most exciting part about dancing, though, is performing. On average, we have 3 to 5 rehearsals per week, from 8:30 to 11 p.m. Before every class or rehearsal, the first thing we do is stretch, usually for 15 to 20 minutes. Then our teacher will talk with us about what he plans to do, turns on the sound system, and we get into our positions. Dance wear is simple: a leotard, dance shorts, and toe pads. They're optional but useful because we dance barefoot. Injuries such as leg cramps and shoulder and knee bruises are common because we do so much floor work.
Mr. Tan says that he prefers not to perform or assign dancers under invitation by external organizations. This is because independent performances are more satisfying in that you can conduct it in the way you like.
Coincidentally, I was asked to perform in Hanqiang School's annual dinner by my teacher. I appeared in 2 dances, the first of which was called the peacock dance.
The traditional peacock dance was invented by the Thai minority of Yunnan, China. For the Thai people, the peacock symbolizes auspiciousness and beauty. In the Eastern Han Dynasty, they often went to Luoyang, the ancient capital of China, to dedicate the peacock dance to the emperor. Traditionally, it was only performed by males who had to shoulder heavy stage props like wings, and this makes their actions restricted. Later, the boundaries of tradition were broken, and hence women could perform it. They did away with the heavy wings and wore long skirts decorated with peacock feathers as the costume. This contemporary version is relatively easy to perform compared to the traditional one. The choreographer does not want to incorporate too many details as it can become repetitive. In this take, the dress used is kept relatively simple. The accessories in the traditional version are not used. As you may notice, the hand gesture is important in this dance, and is one of the traditional elements retained and used for this contemporary interpretation. For example, the dancers cannot make the gesture resemble that of a chicken instead of a peacock. The backward bends are not traditional elements. However, the choreographer once saw a Taiwanese dancer who performed an ostrich dance, where certain moves and gestures were coincidentally similar.
On the night of the annual dinner, we met at the studio to apply our eye makeup and to do our hair. We used yellow and blue eyeshadow and a single feather to represent a peacock, of course. We then stretched and practiced our moves backstage. After a quick costume change, I went on stage with my dance teacher's wife, senior dancer Jing Yu. We performed a dance about a mother who returns home to her village. I play her daughter, who, seeing her crying, asks her innocently, "Why are your eyes sweating?" The dance revolves around the conflict of the child who wonders why her mother is crying. The movements are sweet and subtle.
天天天蓝，叫我不想他也难。
The movements show that the daughter leans on her mother very much.
他还要问你的眼睛为什么出汗？情是深，意是浓，离是苦，相是渴。
Saving Mulian's mother is the biggest performance I've been in so far. Showing at the end of this month, this dance has about 10 different scenes over 1.5 hours, each telling the story of how Mulian saved his mother from hell.
In reality, this dance tells the legend of how the Hungry Ghosts Festival came to be. July the 15th of the lunar calendar is the Zhongyuan or Ulaanbaatar Hungry Ghosts Festival. It is a day to honor departed spirits, to pray for safety, and to show respect for parents.
According to legend, Mulian is an extraordinary boy who trains to become a monk. In the second scene, he brings happiness to the hungry ghosts in the deepest part of hell. These hungry ghosts have not eaten in ages because everything they consume turns to fire. With an umbrella that represents food and wealth, Mulian brings joy to the ghosts.
However, he finds that his own mother has been consumed by greed. Instead of giving back her wealth at the end of her life, she keeps it for herself and away from Mulian. On the 7th day of her death, she is dragged into the netherworld by demons.
As Mulian grows older, he continues to search for and save his mother from the different ghosts in hell. Although not in the original legend, my teacher added this part to create a longer, more entertaining storyline.
First, he evades the impatient time ghosts. Then he stumbles upon the hanging ghosts who were strangled to death.
He also encounters a seduction ghost, which continually throws herself at him. With fists of rage, the angry ghost greets him next. To cool the ghosts down, he sprays them with water, bringing along the water ghost instead.
At first, the water ghosts seem gentle and friendly to him, but they have a terrible agenda to drown him. Towards the end, Mulian manages to grab hold of his mother, only to lose her once again to the demons.
In the final scene, Mulian manages to lead his mother into the light after a lot of twists and turns.
It is said that the Buddha was so touched by Mulian's love and compassion that he allowed the gates of hell to open every year. The ghosts may feast on offerings during the Hungry Ghost Festival.
Like the festival goes, candles are lit along a river to guide his mother home. My dance teacher hopes that the studio will expand so much that we will be able to hold our own contemporary dance competition.
If it continues to mix culture with entertainment, it will be a way for traditions to be passed on to younger audiences. Contemporary dance is a revolution in a sense. It is not just about fancy moves and costumes, but also about expressing feelings and emotions.
Want to see the full performance? Catch us on the 22nd of October 2011 at Penang Chinese Town Hall. Tickets are 15 ringgit and all proceeds go towards the Pure Lotus Buddhist Association.